Welcome everybody. Welcome to Business Blondes. If you've got some business munchies, you're in the right place. We've got some lovely little tidbits we're going to be sharing with you pre your Easter egg fest. And we're just going to keep it really easy today. There's quite a lot of things we want to chat about. We're going to focus on Clubhouse. We're going to talk about the importance of finding the right person to share problems with, and just generally kind of shoot about business, life, and all the stuff in between. So let's get started. Please join in the chat box. How are you this week, Kim?
Me, I'm in mixed place, if I'm really honest. And it would help if I wasn't on mute. So clearly, being the techno geek, I've failed dismally. What I was saying is to keep it honest and real. This week's a mixed bag for me. So lots of things going well, having some great conversations with people, getting ready to launch International Imposter Syndrome Awareness Day. So really busy. But on a personal front, I'm having to go through a bit of a growth period. So my little girl has gone away to her daddy's for at least 4 days, possibly 5. And we've never done more than 3 apart before. So it feels quite daunting. But we're getting there, we're doing it, and it's the right thing for her. And it's all part of that development, isn't it? But I suddenly realise how much she really is my North Star.
Oh, Kim, we're feeling for you, but I hope you've got some nice things lined up to pamper yourself and to fill the soul up in her absence.
Bless you, thank you.
Sam, how are things with you? I know you've had the builders in, you've had all sorts of work going on. Are you coping? How's business amongst all that mayhem?
Best not to ask how you're coping, Caroline. Yes, the builders are still here. They're doing really well. They're a lovely, lovely bunch. So all that's going nicely. I'm just really impatient now just to get back to what I call normal business life. You know, I've had an office for the last 11 years. This will be the longest time that I've been without one, or without the use of one. So I'm so keen now to just get back. I really want to get things back on. I want to get in my car. I want to drive to my office. I want to see my clients face to face and feel their energy. And I'm just so excited about getting back. And I'm hoping that May will be my time for that. So it's coming.
It's coming. We want those heels on, don't we? You want to get those heels on. I wore my new blouse today because I thought, I'm not going to wait any longer. I want to wear a new blouse. I'm going to wear a new blouse. Even if it's for this half an hour, I'm wearing it. So get your new blouse.
Caroline, though, can I just say, I think that's a really good point. And I know next week we've got a personal stylist on the show. But I think I was actually chatting to her about, you know, you sort of forget what to wear again. I know that sounds ridiculous because it's only been a year or so since I've been in the office. But you know, I feel like I want to go and spend on just something to walk out the house with and, you know, almost feel a little bit of the swagger back. Because I haven't really been shopping. And I know, Caroline, you probably would have done, but I'm not a great shopper. I don't really like it. But I'm really looking forward to a new wardrobe.
Yes, not any excuse. Tell them Caroline made me do it. I'll take all the blame. I'm absolutely fine with getting the blame for shopping. So Penny, how are things with you? What's been happening in Penny's world?
Well, yesterday was the end of my financial year, and as some of you know, I'm incredibly disciplined about how I run my spreadsheets and things. That's really interesting. It was a fantastic feeling last night. I said, Thomas, we've done it. We've still got a little bit of money left in our business bank account at the end of that very, very, very tough year. And but yeah, this morning I sort of woke up and thought, God, new year and sun shining. And it's, I don't know, I sort of, it depends how, I place a lot of symbolism on things, you know, I really do. And I think I just feel, it's weird. It's like I feel really fresh this morning thinking, new year, I wonder what this year in business is going to be like. But, you know, the thing that I really reflected on when I was looking at the numbers last night, which is that innovation is the friend of adversity, because I can see what happened when we went into lockdown and, you know, we weren't able to run our masterminds offline and lots of things were happening, couldn't launch our next mastermind. And then I can see when we said, right, let's launch our new product, and we wouldn't have done that without this adversity. And now I think it's going to be a really core product for us. And so I feel good from that point of view. But I wanted to also pick up on what Kim and Elle said about, I just think, I wonder how many of us are going to have separation anxiety when we come out of lockdown. I know yours is a different scenario because, Scarlett's gone off to her father. But, this week, Thomas went off for 3 hours to do something with our camper van to get 5G put into it. I was bereft. 3 hours. Because Thomas and I have been working literally next to each other, walking every morning, we're sleeping together, you'll be pleased to hear, solidly for this whole period. And when he went off for 3 hours, I waved him off, and I felt really quite sick, because we literally have become this. And I wondered, I think you're probably going to see a lot of that separation anxiety stuff, Carol-Anne, in your life coaching. What do you think?
Well, it doesn't really affect me because I'm someone whose needs include a lot of solitude. So I have had a year of no solitude. So I like the empty house syndrome for a while, where I can absolutely decompress, have silence, potter around, and just really know that I'm not going to have to worry about anyone else's needs. I just really need that silence to catch up. So I will have the reverse of you. I'll be like, why don't you go out for a little bit longer? And a little bit longer. But thank you for sharing that, Penny. My highlights of my week was going out for a picnic on Tuesday with a friend. We could do that on a park bench. Unfortunately, it became a 2 bottles of wine birthday. Remember that bit, celebration. And I got burnt. And, some people just never learn, do they? It seemed like a really good idea at the time. But it was a boiling hot day on Tuesday, and it was fun. My other highlight of the week was, and this is an effortless segue now, was doing Clubhouse with Penny and Thomas, which was a very joyful experience. I'm a technophobe, and I know it's the most boring thing an older person can say, I don't like tech, but tech doesn't like me either. And I thought, God, do Clubhouse, will I be any good at it? Well, how do you do this? And of course, once you do it, and with Thomas and Penny hosting this wonderful room, it was such fun, and I absolutely loved it. And I want this going forward. It's something I'd really like to explore in greater depth. So, Penny, you're now the mistress of Clubhouse. You know how to do this really, really well. Tell us some of the techniques and how it's working for you, and how you see that helping build your business.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, you went out of your comfort zone, Carol-Anne. I mean, really, really good. But, the whole point of Clubhouse is it's such a natural environment to talk and listen to one another. It's, I liken it to the radio, and in fact, Thomas and I now, when we go out on drives to Sainsbury's, somewhere as exciting as that, we put the Clubhouse through our radio system, our media system, because you can listen in on so many things. And so effectively, I see myself now as a bit of a chat show host, a bit like we are here, where I invite really inspiring people, and we curate an audience that joins us, which I can talk about how you do that a bit. And then it's really about celebrating the expertise of the person that you interview, and then getting the audience into a position where they're very comfortable to ask questions of that guest. And so, we run it for, we say for an hour, but actually, we can overrun quite a lot. Kim Adele did one for us as well on imposter syndrome. So why do I do it? Well, so first of all, it's a really nice point in my day. So I do it Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 10 o'clock. So I've got that fixed in my diary now. And then the previous week or the week before, I start really nailing down what guests I'm going to have. And they have to be people that aren't just interested in themselves. And do you know how hard that is? It's amazing when people say, can I be on your Clubhouse show? And I say, yeah, send me 5 really inspiring questions. And it's all about them. It's all about their, and at the end of the day, nobody really, unless you're some mega person, Barack Obama, I interviewed him, then maybe people will be interested in him. But it really has to be, and so it really defines how much people understand about what their brand means online. Because
I was going to ask you, Penny, because I think that, I've dabbled in and out of Clubhouse. I've joined a few rooms, participated in a few rooms, and it's become very quickly a very crowded space already. And I think you've got to be able to find your way around it, because you could lose hours, just like any other social media platform. You can lose hours on it, can't you? So what are your tips around for businesses of any type and any size to really find what's benefiting them, or what's going to add value? Because like I say, we could lose 8 hours on Clubhouse just like we could on TikTok or any other of the social media platforms. So what are your top tips for Clubhouse?
I don't think Clubhouse make it very easy, to be quite honest. I think there's a lot still. I know Kim Adele's using it as well. I don't think they make it very easy for you to navigate and understand it. I mean, say you had somebody that you really admire and you might follow them on Twitter. It'd be good to look them up on and see if they're running a club or a room on, and follow them. So you might really like Simon Sinek or something like that. You want to look and you might think, right, I'm really interested. If he ran a room, I want to listen in on that room. And you will get an alert because you're following him. And so then you're getting an opportunity to listen to someone, Elon Musk, whoever it is that interests you. So that's you as a listener. I think what I think is very interesting about this is I'm always very interested in the culture that we set for our any social media engagement that we do. We are in control of the culture that we set when somebody's reading my blog or anything coming into a community. And I think it's very much the same as that. I feel the responsibility to bring a great guest and to manage the energy of that room so that everybody goes away from it feeling they've been enriched and they've learned something. And so ours is all around business is personal. And I set the room at the beginning saying, please don't pitch. That's not serving anyone for you to come on here and pitch. Please come on and be willing to share your vulnerability. As Kim Adele and I say all the time, vulnerability doesn't affect your credibility. So if you've got something to ask, please share where the place you're coming from. So I've interviewed Leslie Thomas on money mindset, and we had people talking about their financial crisis and how they come through it. Imposter syndrome with Kim Adele, Carol Ann talking about life coaching and clarity and confidence. So I think if you're browsing through it, looking for someone to listen to, you've got to end up finding the hosts that you like. A bit like turning into LBC radio and choose, I think I like the way that person runs that room. When people dial in, they're respectful of that person, but they don't let people rant on and on and on, etc. But it is very powerful and it's very enjoyable. But you do have to put a lot of time into it. We're putting a lot of time into it. So let me just now, before we go on, talk about very quickly, well, why would I do it? Where's the business ROI for us? And that's part of reputation. I want to maintain my reputation as someone that constantly connects people to good people. I'm hoping Carol Ann made some good connections out of it. I'm hoping Kim Adele made some good connections out of it. So that is my reputation as somebody that does that. And I want to have a reputation of somebody who's, just wanting to pass great knowledge to people to help them enrich their lives. What will happen very randomly out of it is somebody will contact me and say, I would really like to be a speaker on it. Well, for them to be a speaker, I need to get to know them really well. And for me to get to really know them well, they probably do need to become a client ultimately, because I've got to devote a lot of time to be able to trust that person onto the stage, as I did with Kim Adele and Carol Ann. I know them really well. So we are winning clients from doing this, and good people. That's really interesting. So there is a business reason we're doing this as well. So there you go.
It's amazing, because sometimes it is hard to see how you can turn it around without it becoming a massive salesy thing. And I felt you held it really lightly with that. You weren't doing the over promotion, but there was a kind of warmth and empathy and a kind of generous sense of attraction that you want to know more about you, not I'm being sold to. There's a fine line here of giving content, giving value, being an entertaining platform, but not just going into the hard sell at the end of it, which is an absolute turn off. I think it's something that I might just have to hang around a few rooms a few more times and
start running one, Carol Ann, and I'll help you with that. But what's really important about this being sold to thing, which British people are particularly frightened of it for some reason, is people are very sensitive to being sold to, but they love having a problem solved. And if we truly believe that we are solving a problem for people, then that's great. And so I'm not embarrassed to say, if you would like to be a client of Bit 100, for example, because I know the difference it makes. The other way that it can be really powerful for you is I want to make my client very successful. because I want them as experts to be known and to be amplified. So Clubhouse gives me that opportunity to help people become amplified. And so if you've got a business where you're wanting to amplify people, it's great to host these shows for them.
I see that. That's a kind of lovely, generous way of looking at it as well, that you promote other people. Kim, what's your experience?
Yeah, it's been fascinating to be part of, and you know, Penny, I had the pleasure of being on yours, and the chat just kind of kept going, and off the back of it, I've made some lovely connections. It's really nice conversations, and I think it is about, you're right, it's about how we connect with people and how do we help identify what it is that they want or need. Because I think, you know, having spent a lot of years running sales teams, one of the things that you first have to understand is it a want or a need? Because until you know that, you can't really help support them in it. You know, if I want a pen, a Bic will do, but if I want a Mont Blanc, it's because I want the experience. So I think it's seeking to be curious and to understand from the other person's perspective, and only then can we really serve, because we know what it is that they're looking to achieve or solve, and therefore if we can do that, if we can solve that for them, I think it's about them buying from you as not selling to them. But I've seen some of the clubhouses are great. Where, Penny, you're running yours, and how I'm trying to run mine is very much about sharing that knowledge, giving back, and hopefully creating that safe place for people to be able to share some vulnerability without feeling it's going to impact their credibility. But I think you're right, there is a fine line. I've been into some others where it's like, it just feels like, I'm going to sell you this. You're like, whoa, back off a minute. You know, you might want to check I've got a problem that needs solving before you solve it for me. And I think we see that on all social media, don't we? I'm probably not the only person that ends up with a connection on LinkedIn who then gives them War and Peace about how they're going to solve all my problems. And I'm like, you might want to take me out for dinner before you try and marry me. You might want to get to know me a little bit first, because we wouldn't do that if it were face to face. We wouldn't walk up to somebody we've never met before, shake their hand, and then just splurge everything we do at them and go, do you want to buy? So why do we feel the need to be so different just because we're distanced, I guess, is the
there's a real culture shift on a culture divide on that. So I've chosen to do mine at 10 in the morning, because when we do the afternoon ones, we get a much more of an American audience, and they're great, but they have a different culture. They're much more of a I'm surviving culture. It's still a young culture to a certain extent, and selling is seen as, well, that's great. That's what we all do. And so they always pitch. They really, without doubt, that is what's happened every time I've done one in an afternoon. So I think choosing the time of day is really important for when you want to host one as well.
What do you think, Sam? What's your experiences of it?
I was just going to say, in response to what Kim Medell was saying, that it's just like any other form of communication, isn't it? We need to manage the expectations, both sides. And clearly that's what you guys running yours are doing really well. My experience of it so far has been quite limited. As I said, I've delved in and out of it. I literally pinging every few seconds that, somebody that I'm following is holding a room in Clubhouse. And it goes on. I mean, I'm a very, very night. People are running rooms. I haven't checked in to see what the topic of conversation is at that time. But we need to know the rules of the game. We need to set the rules of the game. We need to manage expectations, be clear what we want from it.
I agree.
Very easily fall into somebody else's agenda. It has to be around you.
I agree, Sam. Sorry, your screen keeps freezing, my lovely. Penny and Kim, who are a bit more seasoned then, what do you think is the etiquette of Clubhouse? I mean, it says leave quietly. Do you do that? Is it wrong to do that? Is it that you jump in? What are the kind of unspoken rules, as it were, that you've noticed?
Well, I guess on the ones, some of the ones that I've run, what we've done at the start, and Penny, you do this so beautifully, is kind of set the agenda at the start, kind of almost give people the rules. So, I always say to people, we've got this guest on. So what we're going to do is open the floor to them. If you've got any questions, please just ask to be a speaker, but hold them for us until we get to the questions, so that they know not to, they stay on mute. So I think if you can give people that, almost the guidelines of what you want them to be able to do, so that they can get involved, they can come up and ask their questions, but also the person that you've got there speaking feels comfortable enough that they can get through whatever it is that they wanted to be able to say in the first instance. I think sometimes, like with everything, I think we're all a little bit awkward, aren't we? It's all new, we don't really know, so we're kind of there. It's a little bit like the first day at school, and you're kind of in the playground going, I don't know, do I go and chat to somebody, or do I just wait here? So I think if you're running a room, actually take control of that and set that piece up so that people can feel like they're able to. And actually with a couple of people, I will always know who's going to come in, and therefore I'll be comfortable that I could call on them. So if the chat starts to go a little bit quiet, I could say, Penny, what do you think about this, as an example, and be confident that Penny would be happy to be dragged in last minute to be able to speak. So I think it's just navigating that conversation for people, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the etiquette, I think this is about humanity as well, isn't it, Kim Adele? Because we all need to feel listened to. What I am really impressed by is that without fault, and I don't know whether I'm attracting very emotionally intelligent people, without exception, I should say, everybody always praises the person for what they've just said and acknowledges it as, thank you for sharing that. This is what I've got from it. And I think listening is such as you said, Caroline, yesterday, I loved it. Listening is an act of love. Beautiful when you said that. I love that. It was absolutely stunning. In fact, your one-liners, Caroline, are phenomenal. What you just chuck out there because of your knowledge of life coaching. I was just writing them, but it is, and I think it is a place for us to really actively listen. The challenge is, as a host, and I'm sure Kim Adele knows it, when somebody's droning on and you can tell people are getting bored and they're sort of going off topic and they're just so excited that they have been heard for the first time for a long time. As a host, you've also got to manage the energy of the whole room, not just that one person. And so you have to start to, you have to be courageous enough in a way to start shutting them down, because you actually can see the people leaving the room. And that's really scary, because you see the room building up and it gets to 150. And if you get the wrong person having too much time, you see the numbers, you see people leave because people's attention goes. And so that is really tough. And I find that bit really hard, because people could be really bearing their soul, can't they, Kim Adele? And you think, yeah, no, but we've been listening to you now for 7-10 minutes, which of an hour's show, other people are wanting to be heard as well.
Yeah, and it's so hard, isn't it, to do it with kindness and humanity and courage. You're right, it is courageous when you have to kind of leap in there and try and kindly navigate away from them when they get themselves in one of those moments. But I think we have to do that, don't we? Like, we have to do it in life in general, is sometimes allow other people in to have their say. And that can be so hard when people are desperate to be listened to desperate to be heard. And if they're feeling like they've got no other place to be listened to or heard, they can unfortunately make it turn in on themselves, aren't they? It's about me as opposed to about how I can help you. And I think that's probably, for me, what I try and say to people is, when you come on, this is not about you, it's about the listener. It's about how are they going to end up with a feeling of increase, that they feel that they gain something as a result of giving us their time and listening. Because you're right, and Caroline, your ability to nail these one-liners is always an inspiration. But that is, listening is an act of love and an act of kindness. And I think
isn't that where, I mean, we're all very experienced facilitators in terms of, facilitating peer groups and masterminds and academies and training. And surely that's got to be one of the almost rules of the game for hosting a room. You've got to be able to facilitate a group of people, and make sure everybody has their equal airtime, and do it, as you say, Kim, with kindness, real kindness.
What's your thoughts on it now, Caroline?
I would like to do it, but I think I need to go to a few other people's Clubhouse rooms a few times and get involved and listen and learn. Don't just jump in as a rookie and then blow it. Just really give myself a chance to be a student for a while and listen how it's done and follow people that I admire. I have been in a few rooms and I found them so dull. And I thought, I want to leave, but I don't want to be rude. And I'm like, almost within 10 minutes, you're like, oh, I quietly leave. And I think, well, I need to kind of just check out the ones that appeal to me. Of course, we're not DJs. If you were on radio, they'll just mute you and say next. You can't do that now. We have to be kind and considerate. And maybe the proviso up front is to say, please be aware if you're going on for a long time that, you know, a lot of people may want to talk. But I don't think people have that awareness once they get started, really. But yeah, definitely something for me to consider when I feel that I've mastered it a little bit more by being a listener rather than a presenter. So we've only got a few minutes left, and what we haven't done is shared a tip. And some of us have now got 4 days off. Yippee, 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 hooray. We don't have to do anything for 4 days. It's kind of enforced rest. So should we just have a little go around the room and say what we might be doing and what we might recommend for people to do over the weekend to kick back, enjoy? I might be a little bit of a business thing that you could be doing as well. So anyway, who wants to go first? Who wants to share what a nice tip for the 4 days ahead?
I don't mind just sharing that. I think for me, many of us, in fact, I was having a conversation with somebody earlier about just to take some downtime, because burnout is coming if it hasn't come already and we've just ignored it. Because, you know, I think all of us here anyway have been really going at it for the last 12 months because we've been serving, as Penny always likens it to, our clients, and we're all, you know, very conscientious in what we do with coaching and clients. So for me, it's recognizing that I can take the time off, and I will take the time off. You know, only this morning, my little boy had his very first football match, and annoyingly, it was arranged on a Thursday morning, and I couldn't go. And he's come back, you know, all excited, and you know, I just feel like I've missed out, and I don't want to miss out on that. That's the reason that many of us go into business on our own, so we don't miss out on those things. So for me, it's about ending today. I've got a lovely afternoon ahead, and then it's about just taking the time off that I know I deserve and enjoy it with the people that matter to me the most. And I've got, Caroline, you'll love it, but I've got a nice couple of days planned with some friends as well. And I'm very luxurious things consumed on those days. So yeah, that's me, just really taking some time out.
So good to hear that, Sam. My work here on earth is done. The fact that you've built in some pink space. Penny, I do hope you have built in some pink space over the next 4 days. It's not all work, is it?
No, I won't work. I never work weekends, actually. I never do. I've always had that rule because I agree with Sam, it's about family time. And but no, Ross is winging his way up as we speak from Cornwall, and he'll be arriving later, which is very exciting. I haven't seen him since Christmas. That's my son. And he's got a van, and he thinks he's going to be sleeping. He's not allowed to sleep in our house, is he? But we've got our motorhome. So he's going to be sleeping out, which he's quite excited about, to be sleeping in our motorhome. It's all equipped with an espresso machine and luxurious sheets. So I'm really excited about that. And so we're going to have a little bit of family time. And I'm hoping the weather's going to be nice enough for the two households can come together, can't they, outside? That's what I'm really hoping we can achieve this weekend. I'm very excited about it.
Wonderful. That sounds so good, Penny. And Kim, you've got this rare little break. And what will you be up to?
So I'm keeping myself busy and occupied because it's the best way forward. I've got a weekend away with a friend to just kind of, I guess, just spend a little bit of time being an adult again, which is really scary because I'm used to just being a mum. And I think that's kind of, I'm looking forward to it. But I think it has given me that part that goes, it's okay to be you. And actually, we sometimes don't give ourselves that freedom, do we? We don't give ourselves that opportunity to say, I can go and do something that's just for me, that's just going to make me feel some joy, and that's not selfish. So I guess my tip is make sure you do something that brings you joy just as much as you do bring joy to others.
Oh, that's wonderful, Kim. And you so do bring joy to people's lives. Well, I can only follow that up with the same. And I've got my brother and sister-in-law coming round on Saturday night. We'll sit in the garden if it freezes us, get the fire pit going, have some food. It'd just be fantastic to see them. And my tip is always pink space, whether it's bank holiday or not. And pink wine too. pink. So we're over to Kim for the final word on Business Blondes. Thank you, Kim.
Oh, bless you. It's been a joy as always chatting to you lovely ladies, and it goes so quickly. But if you'd like to join us here and be our guest on Business Blondes, we would love to have you. Please do get in touch at www.businessblondes.tv. And I guess all there is for us to say is thank you for listening. Have an amazing Easter. Don't forget your pink space. Be kind, be safe. Take care. See you next week.